Hi and welcome to Sven's Bricks. I have a bit of a different video here for you today because I'm actually spending a bit of time with my brother-in-law in England and he has a formidable Lego collection, including a couple of Holy Grail sets that I don't have, like the Ghostbusters house and the Millennium Falcon behind me. But today I actually thought I would do a review of the old Back to the Future car, the Cuusoo set as it was known at the time, because it was called Cuusoo before Lego Ideas. And the reason that this particular model interests me is because personally, I think the design is awful. But at the time when it was released, I still wanted it because I'm such a big Back to the Future fan. But really, looking back, I think it's dated very, very badly. The set comes with 401 parts and 2 minifigures, and at the time it retailed for about $35, $40. So I kind of wish I picked it up at the time because it's now worth double that if it's unopened, or around £100 or dollars if it's secondhand. So quite a lot of money it's worth for what it is. But I thought I'd have just a brief look at the model, give it a bit of critique. But it's only 9 years old. It's not that old, but yet it looks, yeah. Anyway, let's get into it and have a look. So I think what really strikes me first about this is the window. I mean, it's the lack of slope at the front of the car. Which is just about the most iconic part of the DeLorean, the wedge at the front, and then the fact that there's no windscreen. So I mean, I appreciate that at the time there weren't Speed Champions windscreens that would have worked with this car. This is an 8-wide build, but it really, really skews the look of the car having it like this, in my opinion. These are just way too fat to be pillars, and then this block look of the bonnet of the car is it's just so far from the original that I just think it just really doesn't work for me. And then combined with that, I think the whole dimensions of the car is just way too short. Or maybe it's just an illusion because these are so thick and the bonnet doesn't slope down, but I think it just looks too short, especially if you compare it with the profile of the real car. To continue with the negative aspects, I then think that the wheels are odd as well. The fact that they don't sit inside wheel arches, in fact, and instead they're just kind of tagged onto the outside of the car, give it a really weird look. And they're also very skinny. If you look at it from the very front, it sort of looks like go-kart wheels on the car. So I think it's interesting that the designer wasn't able to come up with something better. You know, with all respect, you can tell it's the DeLorean, especially the DeLorean from Back to the Future, but if you remove these parts off the back and all of the greebling from the sides, would you even be able to tell that this was a DeLorean? I think maybe you would because of the bumper at the front. That's quite iconic. They've managed to capture that quite well. But other than that, it's not good, is it? It's not good. Moving to the parts that are good, I think that the bits on the back, I'm not quite sure what exactly they are, but the motors or the exhausts on the back here are, I think those are pretty cool. And I think the interior is well done and the greebling is well done. And I also think that the flux capacitor on the inside is nice. But I'm struggling to find any other compliments, to be honest. I really am struggling. So yeah, this is not a set that I'm going to be looking at buying retroactively. For a couple of years, I did look on the secondhand market for this set. But I think I've really gone off the design. The doors fold up. The doors do fold up, which is very nice. And I guess that helps a bit to the look, actually, especially if you do this. Makes it a bit more obvious what it actually is. But again, there's no glass. Figure-wise, though, I think they did a really good job. These are very iconic, very obviously Marty and Doc. Especially the torso on Marty is perfect, and it's a brilliant hairpiece for the dock. So I'm certainly not grumbling about the figures. I think they're great, but I will be buying the new large DeLorean Back to the Future set 10300. So I will get a couple of figures with that set. So that means that I won't feel the need to purchase these. And I'm afraid to say I definitely won't be purchasing the original Cuusoo Back to the Future. It just doesn't do it for me. Looking online at mocks online of the DeLorean, it's a hard design to replicate in this scale. But I do think that there are a number of people that have managed to get closer. I'm just showing a couple of the better mocks that I've seen, and I will drop a link to those just below. But as you can see, most of these are using that specialized piece to get the slope at the front of the car right. But they're all struggling to get the dimensions perfect. So it must be something with the scale that makes this so difficult. So let me know what you think about this. I would actually be really interested to hear whether there are people that have a fond affection for this set. Maybe it's one of your favorites, and if so, I'd like to know why, what it is that appeals to you. Were you as disappointed in the design as I was? Personally, I like models at this scale because of the minifig compatibility, but also because of the affordability. These large sets are all very impressive in that, but they're also really expensive. So I like picking up the smaller sets. That's why I enjoy the Speed Champions in particular. So if you do know of a mock that I've not shown in this video, then I would be very grateful if you were to drop a comment with a link to it, perhaps, because I'd quite like to make my own at this scale. But I think it's a real challenge to get that bonnet right, the front of the car, as well as the dimensions at this scale. And I think that's proven by the fact that the LEGO designers, in my opinion, failed. But I have seen mocks that achieve it better, perhaps not perfect, but a lot better. So yeah, this one's a big thumbs down from me, but I think it's interesting to revisit, and I think it also really highlights how far LEGO have come over the last 9 years. I think the introduction of the Speed Champions line, along with all the new parts that line have given us, have really helped us with vehicle building at this scale. I'd really love to see LEGO give this another attempt, to be honest. Thankfully for my wallet, this is not a set that I'll be retroactively picking up, even if it has a little bit of novelty appeal to it or a nostalgic appeal to it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll be back soon. I will be continuing with my Speed Champions conversion videos. Thanks for the feedback. Please drop me a like if you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing, and bye for now.